everyone out there in the land of YouTube. Annette Dion here. This is a PNN pop-up in the evening. It's about, it's 10 to 7 already here. It's Tuesday, October 7th. It occurred to me today that this is the day that Hamas attacked Israel. And that horrible, horrible, horrible day 2 years ago. This world is in an interesting place. I want to talk about what's going on in our nation, what's going on in our world. I want to say that the fact that the brave hostages, the brave people that were part of the flotilla to bring aid to the people in Gaza that are being starved to death, the hostages that were taken from the flotilla are safely back. Well, they were back in Greece and they might be safely home by now. But what I know is that when I reflect upon that and I reflect upon what's going on in our country, I'm reminded that we are one world, we are one consciousness, we are one mind. We talk about that all the time here on Off the Ledge and Church of Spirituality, and even during our PNNs. By the way, behind me, there's a skeleton out there. If you're wondering what that light is. But I digress. More about that tomorrow at PNN. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, we'll go live. So I see what's going on, with these peaceful people who were really putting on full display the cost of losing our humanity, and that they would go to every measure possible in order to get the food to the people of Gaza that are being starved to death by some very evil forces. I'll just leave that there. We can go into it more tomorrow. When I look at what's going on with the ICE raids in the United States and the perpetration of evil, the insistence by this regime that we must be terrible, that we must all be violent, and when these American cities, they must all be crime-ridden, and that requires to send in the military, and it's evil. And I know that Kristi Noem decided to take it upon herself to go to Portland today, kind of unannounced. And it's funny, earlier I was meditating and I just kind of kept getting this image of like a plastic person, It just kind of creeped me out when I think about how plastic she is and how, we joke around, we call her like Barbie, what do we call her? Like plastic Barbie or something. And I know we joke because we have to. It's the only way we can get through it. It's the epitome of pathos, what they're doing. But when I reflect on the people in Gaza, the people that were on the flotilla trying to help, appealing to our humanitarianism as human beings, I'm not sure if they got the food to the people in Gaza. I need to look into that a little bit more. But I'm just glad that they're okay and that they put a spotlight on what was going on there, and will continue to pray and to send money and aid. The peaceful power of a generation and many generations of people have always been the most powerful force when it comes to standing up to evil. I'm going to read some cards in a moment, but I just also want to reflect a little bit on what I saw out of Pam Blondie today at the oversight hearing, being questioned by the Democratic members of Congress. And the only thing that I can really compare that to in terms of how she was behaving, like a royal bee, like a mean girl, royal bee, like so entitled. When I bore witness to Pam Blondie, we call her Blondie, hurling insults at these representatives, going just bottom of the barrel, hurling insults at them. It occurred to me later after I saw that horrific display of her horribleness, who thinks and behaves as if she's holier than thou. That's what the demonic does. The demonic insults. That's what it does. If you want to get into that, you can read stories about houses that are possessed by demons, and the real deal. Not the fake haunted house stories. It's what it does. I think if you ever watch The Exorcist, which I haven't, because it would scare the crap out of me, you would see that part of the movie where the demon just hurls insults. So we're dealing with some real evil. I'm not saying she's a demon. I'm just saying it's a sign of the demonic. And Christy Nome being able to shoot up her puppy and just kill it, and her goat, and brag about it in her book. That's some real evil. So we're going to look at some cards. But I also want to, before we look at some cards, talk about, and I'll talk about it more tomorrow night, the experience that I had today when I walked up the street to Main Street to do a few errands, and I walked by a vehicle and there was a MAGA hat displayed rightly in the front, like inviting a conversation, a MAGA hat on the dashboard. And of course I would be walking by that, right? You know me. The window was open. It's a nice day here. And there was a woman sitting in the passenger seat, and apparently she was waiting for her husband to come back. She was older. She had white hair. She was older. And I had to stop. Because to me, it was inviting a conversation. And so I had to stop, and I talked to her. It took a little while, and I just want you to know that when you talk to these people that think Trump hung the moon, in spite of everything he's doing, and spite is the correct word there, there's a certain tension that builds up, and it's like I don't know, it's like an assault. It's like an energetic assault. It's like a shocking feeling through the system. I think there's something to that. Anyway, I felt that. I overrode it, and I talked to her about the things that are being planned for this country. And she kept on saying, we're just different. We're just different. I did ask for permission to ask her a question. I was not rude. I said, I just want to talk to you about what you believe. And she was so defensive, and she just kept talking about, that we're different, that we're different. And I kept persisting. We are not different. What stands to happen is that our water will be polluted, our air will be polluted, we will not have anybody inspecting our food. And, I just kind of took it there. And I said, you have children, you have grandchildren. If you have children and you have grandchildren, and she said that she did, that's what is going to happen for them and for all of us. And I care about that, and I know that you care about that. I kept appealing to her compassion. Not that I wondered if she had it. I kept appealing to it and saying, I know that you care. I know that you love your children. I know that you don't want this horribleness to happen either. So, for the sake of saving some time, she kept on insisting that we were different, and I kind of won in a way. I wasn't out to win, but she did not disagree with me. That actually we weren't different. She didn't have much argument about that. And I share that with you because I want us all to understand that a cult mind is one that's programmed that you are the enemy. It's already programmed in. Every single cult has this component. You are the enemy. Anybody who doesn't believe like they do, they're a threat, and they even do see us as dangerous. And that's why Dumpy's playing on that. He's playing on that they install in their brains through their psyop, Kremlin-based, that we need to be avoided at all cost. Well, why did he have the MAGA hat there then? So she also mentioned that they had a neighbor, and the hat makes the neighbor go ballistic. And I got into a little discussion about how men are taught to suppress their emotions, and the hat was a trigger for that man, because that's what happens to men. Their trauma is suppressed, and so it gets triggered. It's more apt to happen with a man, because that's the gender that's taught to be aggressive. So more on that later, but I just wanted to share that. It just felt like a really important moment, and I wanted to share it because I know how difficult it is, because I've been there, to keep your heart open. And I kept doing this too. And I even told her I loved her. And that was not the first time that I've had an encounter with a Trump supporter that I initiated. And the common denominator is that I heard in both instances, they were pretty profoundly profound to me. In both instances, separate, completely separate. The other one was last year, and I had talked about it. They expressed that they had been in conversation or an interaction with somebody who's on like our side. At the time, it was the Biden side last year. That those of us that weren't in the Trump MAGA cult, I'm calling it that, wouldn't talk to them. And in both instances, these people gave me credit, even today, that I talked to them. They reported that other people wouldn't talk to them. Other people on the Democratic side wouldn't talk to them, because we already have a prejudice against them. And you will drop the prejudice if you feel that way, which is natural and normal when you see the destruction that this regime is initiating and conducting as we speak. If they feel like that at least we're open, they're not going to fight us. On both occasions, they didn't fight me. They were changed, their minds were changed a little bit from what I could perceive, because I talked to them, and in a non-confrontational way, human to human. Every time she said, we're different, she kept trying to stop the conversation. I was persistent. We are not different. We are the same. And I thanked her for talking to me, and then I left. I didn't mean to make that so long, but it's important. It's just, I think that most people don't realize how important it is, because it's no fault of anyone's own. If you don't know about the way that cult mind control works, how could you know? Just don't turn your back on them, and don't hate. The peaceful protesters in Portland, all the peaceful protests are what's going to make the difference. When we see what they're doing and we just go, we're going to remain peaceful, we're not going to confront you with anything that feels harsh. Look at what Gandhi did, right? So I'm going to pull 3 cards on Pam Blondie to see what fate awaits her. I won't make this video too terribly long, but I did want to just kind of look at a couple things. Make sure you check out Off the Ledge daily. It'll help you to spiritually uplift. And thank you to all of you who joined me last night at my crazy PNN on the porch of the Emerson Inn here. I was at the moonrise party, and it happens to fall during, sometimes days that I have PNN, so there wasn't much light, but we got a lot of laughs. It's my wacky Sagittarian nature. Pam Blondie. Okay, I have the 9 of... Okay, let me just say this about Pam Blondie. She's trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat, and it's not going so well. I did hear Adam Schiff, towards the end of his questioning, read an entire litany of all the questions she refused to answer. It was a long list during that one hearing. So the Nine of Swords. Now, one thing that I could detect from Pam Blondie, the supposed Attorney General, it's disgusting what they're doing to our country, but I digress. We'll get our country back. It's going to take a little while, but we will. It's just going to take a little while to hash through all this stuff. She didn't sleep. I could tell she didn't sleep. She sounded exhausted. And the more exhausted she sounded, the more combative she got, the more defensive, the more insulting, the more talking over the representative. It's the most deplorable behavior ever that I've ever borne witness to, but it is a tactic. And the tactic is to unnerve the person who's doing the questioning. Send a note of thank you to these representatives. And the Five of Pentacles, it's not going well for her. She's going to continue, because she's in a cult mind too. She's going to continue to attempt to gaslight. It's going to stop doing so well. I have, for her, the gaslighting is not going to be working. And I do question whether she will be able to continue in the position that she's in. But you know how Dumpy is. The worse behaved, the better, right? I'm not sure if I have a pendulum on the table. I'll use this. This is kind of a pendulum. Is Pam going to resign? I have a yes. I think it's going to be of her own volition. I think she might be having health issues. She didn't seem well. Will she resign in the month of October? Wow, okay. I have a yes. We'll see how that goes. Will it be at the behest of the Orange Buffoon? No. Will she resign and cite health issues? That's interesting. Yes. This pendulum works pretty well. It's actually a Christmas ornament. Okay, all right. And let's read on ice, and then we'll just kind of leave it there. We have to remain peaceful. We have to keep praying and intending peaceful, praying and intending peaceful protests, praying and intending. So I'm reading on ice. What happens to ice next? Well, the amount of money they're making in human trafficking is going to be revealed. I read today about a journalist who is an immigrant who was, we need to pray for this guy. I'll get his name. I did post it. Who got sent to El Salvador to the torture prison for exercising his First Amendment right to video what ICE was doing. And now he got shipped off to El Salvador and had to leave his family behind. It's just so unbelievable that this is where we are. So actually, I might pull some cards about that man. And I did post it. It's on my community page. So as far as ICE goes, I do sense that it'll be shut down when the human trafficking element becomes much clearer, which I think it's very clear as it is. And the Knight of Wands, there I see the judicial system making a case for it being shut down. And even though this regime is not obeying any laws or orders or even the Constitution, there's something that shuts it down. And I'm kind of getting a sense people have died. And so it looks like a murder, at least one murder charge. Yeah, I'm getting a yes about that. Okay, will ICE be dismantled this year? I have a yes. Okay, well that's, it's October. Will ICE be forced to dismantle by November? I don't know how. I don't know how. Let's pick 3 cards on the fate of that journalist. I think he was Latino. I don't blame him for filming ICE. Somebody had to do it. He didn't deserve that. So illegal what happened. I will look up his name and we'll keep him in our prayers. I'll let you know tomorrow. Or you can go to my post page. It's a tricky situation. It'll be a matter of time before justice comes. I do think, I think he'll be released. So, this is about the journalist that I read about who was filming what ICE was doing. But I have the justice card. So I think that there are reasons to have hope. There's always reasons to have hope. I continue to leave comments on... I leave several on Mary Trump's channel because she has a tendency to say something that's just like, and I've heard this a few times, it's just going to get worse. And I do leave a comment. So leave comments when people are doing that. It's like, and I said something like, it's bad enough. Don't make it worse, right? Before we go, I'll pull a couple more cards for us. And make a note to join us tomorrow night. I don't think I'm going to be using StreamYard, so I don't know if you'll get a notification. Because StreamYard, the camera's been so bad the past several times, so you might not get a notification. So just write a note to yourself. Set a little calendar timer or whatever you do to remind yourself that we meet tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Live. You want to join us for our live stream. I'm going to pull 3 cards on We the People. Keep the faith. Things could be going a lot worse. We're holding steady. We're really holding the line here. Don't think negative thoughts. It's really important. King of Cups, 7 of Pentacles, Judgment. This is where we are. This is our democracy. Judgment is coming for the evildoers. Yeah, we're looking at our losses. That's for damn sure. But the King of Cups, this is the strong energy of the governors that are standing up and doing their jobs. Continue to pray for them and for our judicial system. All right. Love you lots. There's a lot more to go over, but we'll do that tomorrow. Namaste. Keep the faith. Bye.